So was your mom.
That was 4 claps.
Ooh.
Why are you clapping so much?
Yeah. That's 2 claps.
1 clap too many.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that's 2 claps more than he lasts. He
Damn.
usually claps twice.
That's not nice.
He's not wrong.
Okay.
Speaking of that, we'll leave that in the podcast for our intro. Joe.
Hi.
Do you have a story?
I do have a story. Would you like to hear it?
Absolutely.
Mason, how about yourself? Am I coming in okay?
Oh, you're coming in.
Oh, yeah. Right on. And 2 claps. All right. So, get into the story. I was at work the other day, cutting it up with some electricians, and they were telling me about a house.
Cutting yourselves up kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
okay.
having a hard time with the razor blades. Got new
I've never
ones.
heard of that before. I always thought it was chopping up.
Cutting it up, chopping it up.
No,
yeah,
it's
it's
cutting
all
it up.
slang.
Yeah.
Yeah, different states. I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good. But, yeah, just cutting it up some electricians on a job site and overhearing about a job they had dealt with where they had to go redo some wiring. Now, if you're gang scrap, power to you as long as you're not stealing from places that are new, like new construction, this particular home, for example. This gentleman had broken into a house that's, I think in the last 10% of the build, they've got appliances in, whole 9, everything's really good. And he decided he wanted some of the copper out of the walls. This guy's no average Joe. He must have been an electrician in a past life at least, because he knew exactly what he was doing. To the point that he went up into the attic of the home, knew exactly where to go, turned off everything but the AC to the home, because it's 100 plus out here in Arizona, cut the duct, so the ductwork was just pumping fresh, cool air into the attic where he was. And since power's dead to everything else, he's got full access to all the coax running down the walls and everything of that nature. So he managed to strip, it was a lot, and then we're talking, 0-aught wire from this house. He got almost everything that he could physically get through the attic, and I think they have to go rewire like 30 or 40% of the house, as I understand. So this house is almost complete. We're ready to turn it over to a homeowner in like a month and a half, if I'm being told.
And this is multi-7-figure build.
Yeah, this is right in the heart of Phoenix, unfortunately. And this homeowner now has...
How'd they figure it out? Like, because I'm assuming from the story, like, he just went behind the walls and grabbed everything. So, like, it's not like there were holes in the wall and you could be like, oh, somebody...
No, he was up in the attic pulling things up through the unfinished attic. So there was everything up there wasn't trimmed out yet. They had insulation sprayed, but it was the stuff you can pull away real easy, and it's not a lot.
Okay, so drywall and stuff wasn't on?
Oh, no, drywall, everything's up. He was in the attic pulling everything up.
But they hadn't trimmed it out, right? So the wires in the boxes, but they haven't connected it to the outlets, right?
Exactly.
So that means that like you've got to kind of yank it free from all the staples that are in the wall.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
But you got a tweaker up there who
got nothing but time.
Yep, apparently.
So yeah, this guy was just high enough to be able to operate, but not so high that he forgot anything important.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so rip to the builders. Don't steal from construction sites. That sucks. Doesn't matter how much.
Oh, you're not supposed to?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some... All right, this is going to be kind of ragging on one of our HVAC guys. I'm not sure who it is. We've got all the attic accesses that we've framed into the house, right? No drywall's up. We're getting our inspection here soon. HVAC guys are finishing up their stuff. They needed to put a duct inside of one of the closets. There's one of the vents that's already framed in. It's going to be the same size. Well, they decided to run a new one. And when they ran a new one, instead of cutting the drywall open, they just attached it to our opening for the attic access. So we walk in there and we're like, guys, what are you doing? This is the attic access. Like, how am I supposed to put a lid on this and have someone climb up when your shit's in my way? So we showed it to one of the other guys today, and he's like, are you serious? I'm like, well, someone in your crew's not that smart. So he ended up having to move it over. Yeah.
Late on a Friday.
Apparently, they wanted to get to that 4-day weekend a little early.
Yeah, gotta hit the bar, man.
Some of us didn't have a 4-day weekend, but you're welcome, world.
Unfortunate. Yeah, actually, you know
My
what?
choice.
Well, Did I tell you the choice that I got with that one?
No.
It was, we were told you can have Monday off, unpaid, or you can show up on Monday and get paid. I was like, well, it sounds like a regular day that we could just take off and not get paid anyways, so I guess I'm showing up.
A lot of people were closed today.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of this weekend.
Yeah, not Chick-fil-A. They were open.
Just not on Sundays.
Yeah,
Nope.
that and probably tomorrow.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully grocery stores are open. They're always open.
Yeah, they're,
Even on July 4th?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I think some of them are even open a little bit on like Christmas and shit.
Most
like
of them
that.
aren't on Christmas. Everyone shuts down for Christmas.
You think
Except
we
for
should
like
help them
QTs.
celebrate July 4th if they're open? Just throw some fireworks around the store? Get the spirits up?
I think we talked about this, the one video of the family setting off fireworks and it ignites the bundle underneath the minivan. Oh my gosh. Did you see that one?
No, I did not.
Dude,
That's a good
they
one.
must have toasted the car because it is just pyrotechnics going off underneath this minivan. It's insane.
I saw the video where the lady poured gasoline on her boyfriend's car because she was cheating on it. He was cheating on her or something, and then lit a match and just blew up the car, and she went flying.
Oh, I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, she like slams into another car behind her. She's like stumbling away.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
One of my favorites was the news headline where woman stabs husband like a ridiculous amount of times after finding pictures of a slim, attractive woman on his phone. Turns out it was just pictures of her when she was skinnier and younger.
Classic. That is also a good one.
Dude, could you imagine? Just be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah. No, I think I'd be dead if I got stabbed enough times, unfortunately.
Wasn't it like,
11 or 12?
it was a lot.
Yeah.
You got stabbed 12 times?
Yeah, getting stabbed double-digit times, I feel like that's beyond personal, you know?
Yeah. All right. What did you guys do this last week?
Mason?
I'm pulling up my calendar. I don't know.
All right.
Joe, you had something that happened this last week.
I did. I made a financial decision. Woohoo!
What'd you do?
Bought a dirt bike.
Oh, that's where you were at today.
Mhm.
What kind of dirt bike?
It is a 300 XCW KTM.
I don't know why I asked.
Yeah. It's very good on riding on the dirt.
I've never ridden a dirt bike.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so much fun. It's a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I've rode quads a couple times
Yeah.
and stuff.
Same fundamentals. You just got to worry about staying upright.
If you go fast enough, you'll stay upright.
Exactly. That's
Just
all. It
not
is.
too fast.
I mean, it's debatable.
Yeah. And I also thought it was, when I did it, it was definitely different, like with like the clutch and using your foot like up, down to change gears. That was weird.
Yeah, dirt bikes
Yeah.
are strange like that, but they're good fun. I mean, quads are cool
They
too.
look fun.
You should get one and find out.
I want a motorcycle.
Yeah, that needs me a Buell Super Cruiser.
I'll go quadding. I won't go dirt biking.
Why?
I don't do two wheels.
He doesn't.
Are you afraid?
Yep.
Do you know how to ride a bike?
Yep.
No. Remember the video where he sent the mini bike into a wall?
No.
What?
I never
Has
saw
he,
that video.
He's seen the video.
No.
Has he not?
I'll have to show you afterward.
Why'd
Well,
you ride a mini bike into a wall?
I'll see if I can throw the video at the end of the podcast too. So
Yeah.
stick around if you're listening.
It's one of the things that I like to talk about on the podcast on occasion. It was my first build.
Yeah. So
Did you do it on purpose?
no, and
No.
that's the thing. As far as like, I was like, all right, I'm done with two wheels.
You just can't handle having an accelerator on the hand?
He gets real throttle
For
happy.
for some reason, my brain shuts off and goes like, I can do one thing at a time, and it's either throttle, and then I'm like, I don't know how to use the brakes.
We figured that out a little late. He stopped pretty quick though. I'll give him props on that.
Yeah, ran into a wall.
Listen, you hit the softest part on the wall.
That's good news for me and my shoulder.
Yeah.
My shoulder was like, my collarbone and shoulder were tight for weeks after that.
So yeah, you hit it pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Like 20.
Dude, like the only reason why I think I didn't break my collarbone was because I'd been doing a lot of weightlifting for clean and jerk. So just the constant barbell on the collarbone and just the heavy weight on there, I think saved my
How old
ass.
were you?
3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. So 22.
It's impressive that you've that old and you lost that much control of the bike.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm done.
Well, I also overbuilt this thing. This thing was
No.
fast.
That was all on me. I will admit. Like, I went around the corner and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I was coming back around. There's 3 guys over there, and I'm like, I'm not gonna look like a bitch. So gave it a little throttle and was like, I don't know how to steer. And then
It's not so much you didn't know how to steer. The front wheel wasn't on the ground.
I didn't steer. I didn't use the brakes. I didn't do anything. It was just me, wall, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
So
Smart man.
It happened.
yeah,
I'm trying to get him on it again, though. He told me if I take the motor off, he'll ride it again.
I was like, if you take the motor off,
Kind of like
put pedals on it.
it was like kind of like those bikes that have no pedals on it that you give to kids,
Balance
they
bikes,
can,
yeah.
so they learn how to do it.
Yeah, use those. If you have kids, use balance bikes. Oh, they're game changer.
Yeah,
I had nothing exciting going on last week.
yeah,
I mean, we did have our kind appreciation team movie event.
yeah. Indiana Jones,
Yeah, movie subpar.
really?
Yeah, but I mean, we had over 400 people there.
Nice.
It was good. It was a success. Everybody enjoyed it. Everybody was thankful because it was our second one. But everybody liked last year's because we did not Mission Impossible, but
Top Gun Maverick,
yes.
and that was like first great movie out of COVID.
Yeah, which we did have a team voting. I don't know why he didn't push it back a week and do Mission Impossible. That would have been a way better one.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
The
but
only thing with Mission Impossible is like it's a 2-part movie.
yeah, but our
Just client appreciation next year.
our 2 choices were Indiana Jones or the new Transformers. And there was me and 2 other people that voted for Transformers. What would have been your guys' vote?
We've talked about this like twice already.
Have we really?
Yeah.
We talked about Transformers.
Yeah.
But not about the choice between Indiana Jones
we
and
did.
Transformers.
I don't think I was here for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I'd say
well,
Transformers.
Let's
I
add them
guess.
to the conversation.
Fine.
See what happens when you miss podcasts?
Yeah, I die. I'm temporarily dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I call him and I'm like, hey, you good for the podcast tonight? And he's like, dude, I've been in the sun all day and my brain feels like I should not be doing that. I'm like, all right, we'll catch you on the next one.
Gotta get that young Pedialyte. Gotta stock
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, just know that the first podcast is every month. You'll need your brain more than the other ones.
This is true, yeah. We got that schedule going now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What'd you do?
Worked over the weekend, put some windows in.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. I mean, sorry.
Windows went in well. It was some of the finishes afterward that took a while, and that was like, but got it done. And then that night ended up taking the wife out to see a movie because she loves going to the movie theater. We watched the new Flash movie.
That's in theaters?
Yeah.
I thought that was like on like HBO Max or something. No,
No,
that's
no.
Shazam.
It might be Shazam. She loves going to the theater. So, like, for me, I'd love to stay home
Which
and
theater
just watch
did you
a
go
movie.
to?
The AMC at Desert Ridge.
Oh, do they have the recliners?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think almost all the AMCs do now.
I don't know. I usually go to Harkins.
Yeah. So, it's a pretty good movie. I don't know. I was thinking about it as far as I feel like, and everyone says this, Marvel did a really good job with everything that led up to like everything they did with the Avengers. I think they've gotten a little kooky with characters, both DC and Marvel. And the way I was thinking about it is like you're starting to have these just more and more characters that are just weird a little bit, or just a little. So like when you had Captain America, right? Like to me, it's like that's a staple as far as you have a weak guy who's bullied who becomes like the super strong guy, right? And it's like almost everyone can relate with that. If you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, it's like you want to be the guy who can help people. Even if you're an introvert, it's like you don't necessarily feel like, oh, I'm that leader type, but it's like everyone deep down inside him has that streak, right? Whereas like the Flash, it's like the dude's a complete, like not complete, but he's got this really weirdo personality, and so it's like I feel like a niche amount of people relate to it. If the comedy's correct, people relate to it, but sometimes it was just like,
Think about all the DC characters. they're all weird.
Well, there's weird, and then like kind of like the weirdo friend you have, and that was kind of the Flash vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, DC's definitely more, yeah. Because they were more like the Marvel stuff took off with like movies and stuff way before DC did, right? Besides Batman and Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like most people don't know it unless you read the comic books.
Well, that and too the way that they did it as well, as far as like you had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor,
Yeah.
and then they brought everyone together in the Avengers, right? So you've got the background already, but you create a solid movie for each character, which they didn't do for DC, and I feel like DC was trying to play catch up. I think what you saw at the tail end of Marvel, and then you're seeing with DC as well, is I will say, except for the Flash movie, which this might be the one interesting thing to go watch it, is a lot of the superheroes became like invincible. And it's like, people don't want to see that. And it's like, subconsciously, they don't want to see that. They want to see struggle. That's what people want.
Well, the less with the DC characters, they're more, besides Superman.
Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but like Batman, like they're like normal people.
That's why everyone loves Batman. Because it's like, okay, the guy has money to have the resources, but then it's a human dude.
Yeah, no. I like all the other ones better.
Yeah,
You're just so analytical with things like that.
apparently.
But that's why there's so many characters, because everybody likes different ones.
Yeah.
Dude, so you ever watch Ant-Man?
The first two, I think.
Yeah. So like I didn't watch Ant-Man until the second movie came out,
Mm-hmm.
because I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, Marvel, you're going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And then even like I never knew who Doctor Strange was
Mm-hmm.
until I watched the movie. And honestly, like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange were probably like two of my favorite movies of the Marvel ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. It's just weird people, but I really enjoyed the movie.
Did you watch the first Ant-Man or just the second one?
There's 3 of them, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay, well, you said you watched the second one, so
Well, I mean, like, I didn't watch the first one.
Yeah.
The second one came out, and I didn't have anything to watch. So I was like, I'll watch it. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I love this.
I feel like I forget his friend's name in the movie, but the friend really carried the first Ant-Man.
The Mexican friend?
Yeah,
he was
dude.
funny.
Still got the van though.
Yeah. I don't know, every time I see him, doesn't matter, he always just, as soon as I see his face, I don't know what his real name is, but he's the detective from the movie The Shooter.
Oh, with Mark Wahlberg.
Mm-hmm. And he was like the only guy that believed him. I have no idea why. That was like the first time I think I ever saw that actor.
Yeah. He's a good underrated actor.
Well, he's also, he's the final season of Jack Ryan came out.
Oh,
on
yeah.
Prime. And he's like, portrays this like bad. I don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy yet, because there's only 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But like he does a phenomenal job, because he's also played like those weird kooky roles and stuff like that. But like he portrays himself as like a badass.
He's in a lot of military movies too.
Oh yeah,
think of it
exactly.
Man, what's
Yeah, he was in another one. Yeah, you guys watch Jack Ryan?
I don't.
Yeah, it's like a better version of Mission Impossible.
Well, you do know, like, there were the Jack Ryan movies, right? Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, like,
what's the guy from 30 Rock? The guy who shot the person on the movie set.
well, even like when like Call of Duty,
Alec Baldwin.
yeah, when like Call of Duty and stuff came out, like I was a big Tom Clancy Splinter Cell, like I like
Okay.
that game a little bit better. But Tom Clancy gets off the books and stuff,
Yeah.
the character out of the books.
Yeah.
You've never watched it? I would be surprised. That's be up your alley.
I just don't watch a lot of TV. It's become a joke now at work, where one of the guys who he's been with us for maybe like coming up on 2 months now or something like that. He'll show up and he'll be like, "What'd you watch for TV last night?" Because like I'm vicariously watching TV through him. So like for me to have gone to the movies with the wife over the weekend was a big deal, because like I just don't watch movies or TV right now.
Yeah, I have a nice little routine. A couple of times throughout the day, like when I eat lunch, or like when I'm doing my daily planner stuff, I have like either on my computer or on the TV. So like I'm doing work but also watching it, which you don't have a lot of office time, so you can't see. The only time people like you guys watch movies is at nighttime.
Yeah.
and you're busy because you're
Mhm.
newly married, so you're just busy fucking.
That and just working.
What do you like
Sure.
better?
Working or fucking.
Hmm.
Depends on the night.
What if I could tell you I could make both of those work for you? You could fuck and get paid for it.
The IRS doesn't want you to know about this secret trick.
And then we're gonna sell a course on how to do it for
Yeah.
$49.99 online. And if you follow our steps, you too can make 7 figures.
If you're filming it, you're actors and actresses.
Yep, it's a write-off.
Yes.
The house that we're using, write-off. Accessories,
I'm starting
write-off.
I started a new business. I need some extra clientele. We'll have to talk about numbers, but can I take pictures of your wife's feet? Give you a percentage of it? You think I'm kidding?
This is a direct question to him. Okay.
Have you seen Joe's feet?
There is a market, but it's not as highly regarded as
You might want to see the feet first.
nice,
You just
nice
don't-
women's feet.
You don't have to.
Like
tell
if he shaved his hair off, could we say it's women's feet?
Joe.
We could pull it off.
There's a camera. Bring your foot up.
You don't want to smell his
Oh wait, yeah, you've been working all day. Good call.
Not even working, just literally riding dirt bikes all day.
Oh yeah, worse.
Yeah. They've been in boots, like not work boots, like boots that go up to my knee.
They have zero breathing room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But when I put my foot down to not fall at 30 mile an hour,
That helps.
Oh yeah, yeah. It goes a long
You
way.
going 30 miles an hour? Come on, dude.
Well, I
You go on
mean,
a
through
turn.
through like a wash. Yeah. The doodle bike does 50. I got it up to 70 today. Got a speedometer on it. That thing sounds so good. Two Smoke Gang. Love Two Strokes, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Speaking of nickname, that's Thad's nickname. 2 Strokes.
Should be.
I think it is now. At Two Stroke. All right.
Don't worry. I still take care of the wife.
Very good. All right. Is it that time?
Probably.
Or do you have a rant? What's going on?
I don't know. I did put that in there, but I felt like we talked about it not too long ago. So
Yeah, this is why we should use Notion so I can organize this sheet better.
what's wrong with my sheet?
A lot of complaining.
But it was because it's so hot outside right now. Ugh.
Roll your windows down, pussy.
Yeah, we were talking shit about how the summertime everybody just talks shit. They're complaining about how hot it is here instead of just like sucking it up. And then you can go, you want to let everybody know what you do to outshine everybody who complains about the heat?
Yeah,
So they can know how much of a badass you are?
I'll turn my AC off, roll down the windows, and just roll around town like that. Even in the middle of summer.
Well, that's the morning time. It's not that hot out.
I'll do it at 4 p.m. when
Right
the
after
sun
work.
is hot as shit and it's 110. I've done it at 115, and you start rethinking things. But
He used to do this in the work truck, and then I was like, "That's not the case anymore."
I've rid it. I've had people ride with me, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
I physically can't do that though.
It's not as bad as it sounds, but
No,
like, my
because-
thing was showing up places sweaty,
Yeah.
like just being straight damp from like head to toe. Like I can't.
When I was in college and I was driving back and forth a bunch of times for playing basketball, my car didn't have tinted windows. So on the way home, I would literally have to put sunscreen on the left side of my arm because I would get sunburnt.
Yeah, my left arm usually gets darker than my right arm.
Yeah, but see, I don't get darker. I get
That
red
sucks.
and then I peel.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Well, okay, you want to know something? This one is something that is kind of. This is when I'm going full tilt lunatic. If I want to listen to something like off my phone, and I have an old truck, so there's no Bluetooth, there's none of that shit. And if I don't have my headphones with me, then if I'm on the freeway, I can't hear anything off
Yeah.
my phone. So I'll roll up the windows sometimes if it's something I really want to listen to, and that is some of the stuff I look at and go, all right, buddy, what are you doing? This is just stupid because I don't turn the AC on. And at that point, it's just an oven. And there's just water coming out of me like no other.
You know, for like $200, you can go to Audio Express and they can put you in a little off-market thing and you can use Bluetooth.
I'm good. I've got my Bluetooth headphones that I take with me almost everywhere now.
Almost
He doesn't
everywhere.
like spending
Imagine
money
if
on
you
stuff.
had Bluetooth in your car
That's fine.
all the time.
I have a Bluetooth speaker in my truck almost all the time too. So it's really just me being.
He doesn't
an idiot.
drive often enough.
Yeah. Are you just against aftermarket stuff?
I just don't want to go through the.
He doesn't want to deal with car stuff. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really.
You seem like you'd have a pretty cool setup.
I
Fuck
used
yeah,
to.
it is.
Nah, I got subs in the truck, but I'm getting rid of those tomorrow actually. So my WRX had a nice setup. My Miata has a pretty good setup. I thought about doing subs in that thing. Actually, I could use the subs from my truck in the Miata. That's more work. The car needs to run first. We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah.
Anyways, we ready? All right, let's get hammered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. Today I'm joined by Joseph Morris. What are you drinking, sir?
We are drinking Monster Energy Drinks Tour Water Sparkling Water. It's deep well sparkling water.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of crazy. I saw this and was like, yo. It is the largest can of sparkling water you can buy at QT for $2. Therefore, I own this one. It's just
shove
water.
your nose down
There's
that.
no sugar or nothing. It's just sparkling water.
Like they put like you know how sometimes they have like that caffeinated water now.
No caffeinated water, yeah.
It's just water and
CO2.
carbon dioxide.
So pretty much they're trying to rip off Liquid Death.
It's next to Liquid
everyone's
Death.
doing
There's no
that.
flavor.
We were talking about that on the way here. It's like everyone's just ripping each other off. Everyone's doing an energy drink. All the supplement.
You ever had Liquid Death?
No.
It's good.
Dude, I was drinking that shit before they were on the shelves.
Yeah. Well,
But it's still weird, though.
Also, we're joined by Mason Oxendale, who's not drinking Liquid Death today. What are you drinking?
No, I am drinking
Suspicious red liquid.
whatever that sparkling water that drops off in the big jug with some Mio Energy. I'm trying to watch my caffeine intake.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been up in like the 5s and 6s for a while, and it's not good.
What do you got right now?
Yeah. Me for the day?
Yeah.
360.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you mix that with the steroids and cocaine use.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's not that bad.
yeah. Sometimes whippets, so
That's-
you get the heart racing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The line of whippets. Damn.
Remember when that was a thing?
Oh, people still do that shit. It's
Oh,
ridiculous.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's like you can buy. Yeah. Terrible.
Yep.
And then, as always, Shamrock Farms chocolate milk, because that is the best. Got a gallon from my friend Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Love you.
I'm gonna make a free Shamrock Farms 5-second thing that you can add in the videos.
I honestly was thinking about that last week.
We have to make it like a 2008 like MLG Pro like edit though. So like the Doritos that's spinning and like the Mountain Dew. Yeah. 360 no scope.
Yeah, with a Shamrock cow, but
Yeah.
it's Thaddeus' face.
Exactly. 420 XP.
And it's not a white cow; it's a brown cow because it's chocolate milk.
Yep.
Because everybody knows that's how you get chocolate milk.
Exactly.
Yep. If you're doing it any other way, you're doing it wrong.
Why are you looking at men's abs?
Oh, this was on my Pinterest fitness vision board.
Nice.
Yeah, for a while there too. Yeah, I'd open up Pinterest and there'd be a lot of naked guys on there, so I had to
It's a new Tumblr.
quickly. Yeah, dude, you said tug work. Is that what you said?
No, it's a new Tumblr.
I thought you said so. You quickly had to do some tug work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I was looking up stuff because I believe you are building something at my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the little mud area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something there.
And then for your dad's spot.
yeah.
Which,
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we can get through both of these.
well, then we'll start with buying the house one. We'll go ours is going to be a lot shorter.
Mine's not going to be that long.
Then we're going to be fine.
All right.
Real quick, let's do our numbers. Active inventory right now, this is going to be for the greater Phoenix area for the houses that are on the market and then that have closed in the last 30 days. This gives you a little snapshot if you've been following along with us. Right now we have 8,030 active homes. That is down 391. We have been just falling since we peaked in November at 16,000 active. We're going to be crossing that 8,000 mark here pretty soon. Closed 5,407. That's down 553. So we've seen that as pretty close to 6 about a month ago. So that being down just kind of puts our ratio back in, I'd say, probably a better spot based on the active inventory dropping, so just steadily and not stopping. Interest rate is still right under 7. So, and that's going to be with a decent credit score. If you've got a bad credit score, I was listening to some guys talk about it today. If you're, I believe they're using the example of California, and you had somewhere in the 680s, it was like an 8%. So that interest rate is going to hurt right now. But it's been hurting for a while, and people are still buying those homes, as we can tell by the closed numbers. 2x4s, 325, no movement on that. That's been really steady. Plywood, 1645. This one is up. And I believe that one's up $2.20 since last month. We saw that at the beginning of the year down in the 12s. So we're up $4 a sheet from earlier in the year, which when you have a large size project doing stucco, you got to put plywood all around that house, that's going to start to add up real quick. 1/2-inch 10-foot copper pipe, $27.81. That's the same as last month. So that one seems to be holding pretty steady right now, which is good. We don't want to see a lot of these building materials continue to jump in price. We want to see inflation numbers start to steady out so that we can see the interest rate hopefully come down. Some projections are saying we're going to be seeing that closer to 2025. So, but as the guys mentioned earlier, we talked last week about trying to get a little more just structure for the podcast with how we're doing things so that we don't roll in here going, what are we talking about for the day? So for first Monday of the month, we're going to try and have a topic that we're going to nerd out on a little bit. And we decided on doing this last week. So this is going to be stuff that we've probably talked about a little bit before, but we kind of want to really dig into it in regards to
Timeline,
order
of operations,
what everything looks like, if we can give some real life examples, and go from there. So other times we're going to be talking about, possibly if it's next month, we're thinking about talking about Airbnbs because there's some movement on that. We want to have some real stuff that we can talk to you guys about. Other times we're going to be doing our diving into houses, we're going to try and be more routine with guests, stuff like that. But today we've got some more details that we're going to be getting into in regards to specifically buying a house, and then on our side it's going to be what does it look like for us when we're talking to someone about their project they want done at their house. So Mason, where are we going to start as far as the conversation we had earlier on the phone is I'm looking to buy a house in the next year or two, depending on a couple things that the wife and I are saving for.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at it, that I come to you as a client and say, hey, some of the median purchase prices are in the high 4s right now. I don't need to be going crazy. I'm trying to get like a 3-bed, 2-bath, good area, decent square footage. So I know that's going to land me in the probably low 400,000s is what I'm looking for. Where do I start? Walk me through everything that you've got for me.
Yeah, well, first off, I would say that if you're thinking about, whether you're, a year plus out or whatever, I would definitely suggest, especially if you know somebody or somebody who has a really good real estate agent, like reach out to them. And that way you can get into communication, not only with the realtor, but with get you connected with a lender. And kind of so when you are ready to make that move, you're in a way better spot. Like what you're working with.
So what's the lender going to help me walk through in regards to putting me in that better spot?
Exactly. So I say that reach out ahead of time, because the first step in the process, like you come and say, hey, I want to buy a house. Mm-hmm. And you want to the first thing first is to get you want to if unless you're paying cash, you want to get pre-qualified for a home loan.
That's what most people are going to be doing. So, like, I don't even mind being a case study right now.
Mhm.
I'll talk about income and all that crap.
Yeah. So you want to speak with the lender.
Okay.
Because obviously, like, if you use the calculators and stuff online and stuff, like, you know, sometimes if you know how to use one of those calculators, you can be fairly accurate with it. But if you're doing like the Zillow calculator and stuff, it's not accurate.
The Zestimate.
Yeah, the Zestimate stuff, because they group everything in like as in zip codes. They don't narrow anything down to like neighborhoods, mobile home versus a single family home kind of thing. They just take all the numbers, group it together.
Yep.
And they do this
Simple math, yeah.
exactly. They do the same thing with them. So the reason why we want to do that, we want to make sure that you can afford the house, because most people.
Okay. So how would we know if I could afford the house?
Exactly. Well, so most people know, like, they have a number inside of their head that they want to spend on a home. Yep. So we want to talk to a lender so we can find out how much you can get pre-qualified for.
Mm-hmm.
What question did you just ask? I didn't even listen.
How do we figure that out? As far as what can I afford? How do I figure that out?
Yeah. So obviously I'm not a lender. I mean, I can.
Right. This is all entertainment for the podcast, and as far as when you talk to Mason for real estate, he's going to direct you to a lender. But this is all entertainment for the rest of the show. But
yeah, so
since this is going to kind of give you an entertainment snapshot of what reality should hopefully look like for you in your situation, we'll just go from there. Entertainment going forward, we'll say for both the situations we're going to relay from here on out.
Exactly, and I'm speaking off of personal and business experience on what through all the multiple transactions lenders have said.
Right.
So basically, you want to see how much you can get your home loan for, and that is going to take into factor your total income, what your
between me and my spouse, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's gross income too. It's not net.
Okay.
It's your gross income. It's your FICO score. So not your Experian.com score.
Right.
Your FICO score, and your debt to income ratio.
Okay.
Those are going to be kind of like your three big factors on
Okay.
how much you can afford and even what your interest rate's going to be.
Okay. So if we have, which I guess I don't know. We could do.
We don't want to go too much down that hole.
Okay, but
with the lender.
To just give people a number real quickly as far as
exactly. So basically, you want your debt to income ratio to be under. I think it's under 55.
I thought it was 45.
But you can. Well, I mean, in a perfect scenario, like to get ultimately the best credit score, you want to be, your debt to income ratio under 45.
Under 45%. So if we have a couple that makes $100,000 a year, then your debt to income ratio, and this is going to be
total debt,
right, can only, and this accounts for monthly expenses. So this is where things get a little interesting as far as if you have someone who makes $100,000 a year, you need to divide that by 12.
Yeah, it's not year, it's
right?
monthly. Yeah,
So what I'll just run it through a calculator real quick.
Yeah,
We've
so
got
they take
100,000 divided by 12 equals, that's going to be $8,333 a month. Then
8,000. You said so. Yeah. So for more generic purposes, you want to have about, to be safe, you want a 50. You want to be 50. So in this scenario, $8,000, you don't want any of your debt monthly payments to add up to more than half of the $8,000 a month.
And that includes the mortgage that you're hoping to get.
Yes. So yeah, they're going to factor that in.
So when people look at and they say, what are your student loans? They're going to look at
student loans, car payments, any kind of credit cards, any other forms of credit line,
alimony. Child support.
Yep, that'll. Yep, if you have to pay for
fees.
Yep, if you have to pay alimony or child support, if you get alimony or child support, that can go on your income part. So yeah, all that's going to factor in.
So, and the reason why this becomes important really quickly is with the interest rate and the home amounts right now, when you start looking at that monthly payment, you start increasing that number pretty rapidly. So when you're carrying a lot of debt or a lot of payments on there, it will limit the amount that you can get in terms of a loan based off of the debt to income ratio.
Yeah. So a lot of times the advertised interest rates, you want to have above a 720 credit score. You want to probably have 45 and under debt to income ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you want to have, depending on how much of a home you want to buy, you want your income to be maximized.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the lender will, so once you go through all that, they're like, oh yeah, you're pre-approved. The pre-approval will tell you how much total loan amount that you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also too, it's what you can afford. So just because, I'm not a financial person either, but just because you can afford an $800,000
according to the lender,
loan, doesn't mean you can actually afford that monthly payment.
Right.
So they are going to give you what your maximum loan amount is. And then too, when you talk to the loaner, you're going to be in talks about like, okay, if I put this much down, how much can I afford? Because the more money you put down will obviously let you probably afford a little bit more. And also the more money you put down is going to lower your total monthly income. So it's going to have your maximum loan amount, it's going to have your interest rate, and then it's also going to have your maximum mortgage payment amount. So you're going to have a rough idea. And a good lender, if you're like, oh yeah, I want to buy in the Peoria area, she'll, find out the general taxes in that specific zip code, generic insurance and stuff, and give you a ballpark idea of what exactly.
So when you're looking for a lender, is that something your realtor is typically going to help you with? Or is that going to be like something where you're personally giving suggestions to a customer? Or is that something they might come in with? How does that typically work?
Yeah, most of the time, nobody, unless you know somebody in the industry, like you don't have a lender you always work with, Like if you buy a house with one lender, you're probably not going to use the same exact lender unless you use the same exact realtor. So most of the time your agent is going to recommend it. Now, that's why I think picking a realtor is one that you like, and you trust is the smartest, because they're going to give you all those recommendations. Like there are recommendations of lenders that they use, recommendations for inspectors, any other kind of people that they work with. Because me as a realtor, if I send somebody your way, I don't get a cut. Like there's no financial benefit. So the people that I work with are people that I know that can get the job done, and I trust them. Like I would do it. Like I got my loan through our lender when I bought our house.
Because the lenders usually are a big reflection of the realtor that you're working with. So it's going to be, at the end of the day, the realtor is the face of the real estate transaction, right? So they're very incentivized, not financially, but just from a business sense of, hey, I need this to go smoothly. So if I've got a lender who can kill it and just be even a great customer service person on that side of things, it makes the realtor look great on the other side, which really helps. Because I've worked with lenders that have been from the client that they're like, hey, I really want to go with this person, and it turned into a disaster. And then I've had the situations where it's like, I've got the lenders prepared, and I ask them like, hey, how was your experience? And they're like, it was absolutely fantastic. They got me they helped out with, hey, here's some little moving stuff, little tape, it's usually smaller stuff, but just that real personal connection that they know that you're going through a big change in your life, stuff like that. Yeah. And in the end, that always goes back to a reflection on the realtor.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked in depth too about the pluses and minuses of having a good lender, the way they can work that kind of stuff. But also then, one of my best friends, I helped him sell and buy a house, and he is one of those guys where he just dug, I had probably 8 different lenders call me because he personally went out and found the best rate that he could possibly get through just contacting people.
And just like everything, as far as some people might be able to say, hey, I found this rate with this other guy that's like a 0.1% lower, so I would like to go with them. It's just like everything, you're going to get what you paid for. And this goes back to the lender being a reflection of the realtor as far as it's like, hey, if you're looking to do this dirt cheap and you've got someone who, it's like at that point, we're playing with hundreds of thousands of dollars in a loan. Do we really want to play with something that is someone's trying to really scrape the bottom of the barrel for you? Or do you want someone who's like, hey, here's my sales pitch to you. I can get this done. I can get this done professionally. I can get this done quickly. And that's what you need. You do not, like, the couple dollars that you're going to spend are not going to be worth the headache when you're going, oh dear God, this is the house we wanted, and because my lender won't pick up their fucking phone, am I going to lose this deal?
Makes enough sense.
Yeah. But some people don't have that opinion.
No.
They want the lowest one, which is fine. I still work with them. You do what you want. That just means that I know that, so I'm going to be more on top. Like when I'm with my lenders, like I know they're going to, I get emails every week, like I know how they work and operate. With this one, I got to be more on top of it. And a lot of times with those online lenders, I know we're talking more about the lending side right now. They tell you you're going to get a specific rate, but once you go under contract, you know, because a lot of those online ones, they're not from Arizona. Mm-mm. They're stationed out somewhere, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not terrible as long as, like, if they work in every single state, they don't know everything. Like, they might have done something wrong, but like, oh, no, your interest rate's this much. Now you're in a contract with the house that you love. Way higher interest rate. You should have went with the first person, and then now I have to talk to the listing agent and our new lender and see if we can switch lender. It's a headache. Yep. So I do present Thaddeus's opinion to them about it and let them make their own choices.
Yep. All right. So,
but yeah. So now you've talked to the lender. You've got you had your ducks in a row. You guys were saving up money,
yep.
And even if you feel like you're in a good spot and you're like, oh, I want to save money, I still think that's why it's a good thing to reach out to your realtor / a lender just to get all your ducks in a row, because you get them all their paperwork and stuff, because you have to, like, you tell them everything, but then also you need to show them proof with pay stubs and stuff like that. So even if you're 6 months out, the lender already has all that stuff. So when you're like, oh, hey, I want to kick it into high gear, they can issue that pre-approval letter.
To that point, someone's looking to buy a house. What's some documentation that would be good for them to have on hand when they go talk to that lender?
W-2s if it's close to the end of the year, or if it's, in the beginning stage of the year.
For how far back for the W-2s?
Self-employed. Safe to say 2 years. You can sometimes get away with 1 year if you're self-employed.
Self-employed, you do need to.
Well, sometimes you can get away with 1 year though. But that's I don't think that's only seen that happen once.
And then you mentioned pay stubs.
Yeah, pay stubs. You want your 2 most recent pay stubs. I forget do you know what the work history is?
I believe that's 2 years.
Well, you just have to have had a job over the last 2 years. Like, it doesn't have to be
I think for
job.
that one, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You want to show, so like, if you've had a couple jobs over the years, and there wasn't too much of a large break, like there wasn't a 6 month gap. If you have a reasoning why, like maybe you had kids or something, you basically just need 2 pay stubs, your most recent pay stubs. Yeah, and then they're going to pull all your debt and stuff from the credit pull.
Yep. Okay.
And we've talked about this before. I will reiterate this. When a lender pulls your credit to get your FICO score, you will, if you're one of those freaks that check your Experian credit all the time, you will notice that your Experian credit takes a hit. I'm talking like 20, 30 points. But when you get your FICO score pulled by a lender, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't even move. And if it does move, it's 1, maybe maximum 2 points. So some people get weirded out, be like, oh, I'm not buying for another 6 months or a year, so why would I talk to a lender? I was like, well, they can do hard pulls, which is the main one. They can do like soft pulls, which is not really a pull. They're just gathering your information and giving you a rough idea of what you can afford. And they can help you be like, oh, well, if the interest rates are here, if you're thinking in your head, oh, I got to put like 20% down, which I do recommend. And she's like, well, no, if you put 10% down and do this, buy down, there's 1,000 different ways you can go about it. But yeah, that's the main documents that you need.
Yeah, and then the reason why we're kind of spending a lot of time, especially on the lender side, is because that's going to be the key crucial part to get everything started. They're going to be walking through the whole thing with you on the transaction. We'll get to this here in just a second, but in regards to like when if I'm dealing with Mason, he's my realtor, it's like, hey, I want a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, this price range. Like, he can put the search together, but there's not like
You cannot submit an official offer without a proof of funds or your pre-approval letter.
right, and we can always change the 3 beds, 2 bath to a 4 beds, 2 bath, or to a 2 beds, 2 bath. Like, that's always easy to change what we're shopping for. The amount of money that we have is the important part. Getting our ducks in a row is the important part, because if you screw up the pre-approval process or the pre-qualification process, that can really come back to bite you at the end of it.
Yeah, and even just a human experience, or if you're somebody that, knows, that's in business and knows what it's like, time and money. If you're going, like, why would somebody go and show somebody 20 houses when they haven't even spoke to a lender to know if they even qualify for a home?
Right.
Because that's a lot of time. I hate when people complain about gas prices, but the gas prices are high. That's a lot of time and effort that they're putting into somebody who may or might not buy something. So,
Right.
it's like, it's a give and take relationship, because you're in a business transaction with, me and then you. So, and also as a buyer's agent, I'm working for free. I don't get paid I get paid by the listing agent, and I don't get paid until we close on it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of upfront. So but that, business aside, just human nature, like, are you going to take advantage of somebody just because, they like to do something, they do it for a living, but they're just going to keep doing stuff for free and free and free? So a lot of real estate agents will be like, yeah, you need to get pre-approved. We won't even show houses until I get a pre-approval with a lender.
Yeah.
If I don't know you, I want you to get that process started, because then I can connect with the lender, and that initial consultation with the lender, they'll be able to fairly quickly find out. They'll be like, yes, you can get approved, or like, no, they're not going to be able to get approved because they need this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to get, because this is also the hardest part. People are afraid to talk to lenders because people are afraid to talk about finances.
Mm-hmm.
So this, for me, is the biggest struggle, is to getting people to be like, hey, dude, get pre-qualified. This is the hardest part. This is the second hardest part. First hardest part is getting all your shit together and moving. That's a pain in the ass. Second hardest process, because once you get this done, boom. Pre-approval loans are good for 90 days. And say it takes a little bit longer, you're at the 90 days, and then you find a house that you like. All you have to do is resubmit the last 2 pay stubs to show that you still have a job and you're pre-approved again.
Yep. Okay, real quick. Let's get moving on this, because we are kind of staying on the lender part for probably a little too long.
I saw that happening. Pre-approved.
We're pre-approved. I tell you, hey, it's a 3-2, 1,500 square feet. You create a search for me.
Yeah, so I'll ask you. I'll be like, yeah, so your lender says you're pre-approved for $450, and it's at a good monthly rate that you want. So what are you guys looking for as far as biggest things? Location, beds, bath, and any must-have amenities as far as like a pool or RV, big backyard, things like that, open concept.
Biggest thing would be square footage, beds, bath being 3-2, and then
3-2.
probably location on that.
Okay. Where at?
We're looking probably North Phoenix. Pretty flexible, but as long as it's North Phoenix.
Yeah, like that Cave Creek area.
Mm-hmm.
Between
Desert
17
Edge?
and the 101.
Or Desert Ridge area?
That works.
Yeah. Like, is that really where you guys want to live too?
Yeah, I'm giving you like the real thing right here.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
10117 north of what? Like Greenway?
I'd take everything north of Thunderbird, inside the 101, either side of the 17. So that does include some Glendale and Peoria, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're pre-approved, so we probably have already established decent connection.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, depending on how the relationship goes, I don't try to ask too many questions, but I would sometimes ask and be like, hey, are there any like no-goes, like pool, yes or no? Is there a specific neighborhood or zip code that you don't want? What's too far north, south, east, and west kind of thing. And then I'd set you up on a search and start sending you home so you can look at.
Yep.
Now
this is the part that people typically know in regards to showings start happening, and then we get to, let's say we've looked at some homes for a couple weeks, and then we found one. It's in a good spot. We're like, hey, this is going to be within the budget. This fits what we're looking for. We want to put an offer in. What do we have to do?
Okay. So we've got pre-approved. We started looking at homes. I started opening up home for you, showing it. You found one that you like, ready to put in an offer. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been doing it a little bit long enough that I have a general idea of when we go, depending on the neighborhood and the quality of the home as we walk through it, kind of typically if the asking price is in range of what it's probably going to appraise for.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things you do have to take in consideration when you get a home loan is that, you can ask for $1 million on a home, and if somebody wants to give you $1 million, but they're getting a home loan, it's probably not on a $500,000 house. It's not going to go through because it has to get appraised because the lender's not going to give you that money. Give you $1 million on a $500,000 house. So you do
They can't make their money back if things go upside down.
exactly. So you do want to take that into consideration. So sometimes I will do I want to put our offer in on it. Depending on the market and how hot it is, you don't want to waste too much time on it. But most of the time, I'll go back the same day, run some quick comps, make sure it's in the area, and then have a back and forth conversation with the buyer about like, okay, what are you thinking? This is priced below at 440. What are you thinking price wise? What do you guys want to do? It's been on the market for. Hasn't been on the market for 30 days. It's been on the market for 2 weeks. There's no current offers on it. So, I would give them the breakdown. I get more information on it. Contact the listing agent, see if they have any action. Most of the time they do a lot of quote unquote fluff. Say like, oh, we've had a lot of action, we have some offers that are supposed to come through. But unless they have an offer in hand, I don't count it. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. So we're free to do whatever the buyer wants to do.
Mm-hmm. So at that point, you get to advise in saying, hey, here's the situation as I see it. Mm-hmm. Here's what I've seen in the past. Here's the leverage we might have, or the leverage the seller might have in this situation, and then go from there to say, hey, if it's been on the market for a month, they don't have any offers right now, and they've got a lot of these ghost offers, then we might be able to ask for a couple extra things.
Yeah, leverage, yeah.
But if you do call someone and says, hey, I've got 2 written offers, we've been on the market for 24 hours right now, we're going to cut this off here in another 24 hours, all right, it's time to play ball.
All right, I'm going to skip that scenario because that was a 2020 scenario that is not normal, and I don't want people to think that's even close to normal.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so no offers on the home, the days on the market, if there's any offers on the property. Also, one of the things I like to look at is because I want to get an idea in the seller's head is that I'll go into the tax records and find out what they bought the house for. Because theoretically, if they bought it for 200 and they're selling it at 450, they're making a lot of money. So 10 grand, 15 grand might not be, look as bad. Whereas if their profit margins were really less, like they bought it for 400, they have to pay realtor fees, taxes, and all that stuff, and just to make, a pretty penny work.
Right.
So you wouldn't want to really go too much lower.
Right.
So there's a lot of things like that you want to, take into consideration when you're making that offer. And I like to bounce it back because, especially somebody like Thaddeus, even though he has been in the industry, but just his personality, he's somebody that wants to have a lot of say in it. Because at the end of the day, I'm working for you.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can do is advise you on give you the information, and if you're like, okay, well, let's put an offer in for $390, I'm gonna advise against that, but I'm gonna do it. See what happens.
I think, and this is kind of one of the things I would do with certain clients as far as to, sometimes you do need to prove a point to clients. And it's the first or second time you put in an offer. If the client is, you're advising the client saying, hey, here's what I think is realistic for the market. And they're like, no, we really feel strongly about this. And it's, you got to kind of let them lose once or twice, because once they lose once or twice, then they're starting to be like, I don't know why we're losing on these offers. And it's like, let me step in now and be more assertive with, hey, you remember how I've been telling you this the entire time? This is where you do, like, this is why you hired me. This is why I'm here. Mm-hmm. Because I understand what's going on. You haven't done this in how many years? Or this is your first time? Like, this is not my first rodeo. Exactly. Let me help you out. Okay.
Do you want, yeah, well, my question to you is, how deep do you want to go into it? Because we could probably spend another 30 minutes just talking about the offer, what to do, how to do it, negotiation, and kind of give you a deep dive into, like, what's happening. I mean, like, it's a 30-minute conversation. Obviously, this is all happening, you know, very quickly, but these are all the thoughts and different things I have to consider. And then we have another 30 minutes where we could probably talk about once you're under contract and the process of getting it closed.
Yeah.
So my question, yeah, so...
Which maybe, I guess...
We can break it down into a couple of different series.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do something a little on the side with that too, as far as some videos to put it out as far as, hey, let's explore options inside the Arizona purchase contract. But let's see, let's hit on...
Yeah, I'll walk you through the rest of it, and then we'll do a couple of videos and stuff on, like, a super deep down dive on what to look at, like how to write an offer. Yeah. Not how to write it from my perspective, but from,
you know. All right,
so
we'll talk about the contract later. Let's assume we're going to talk about details. There's going to be a video coming out that's going to discuss some of those details that are options for people, especially in Arizona.
Okay,
so we go under contract.
Shit.
Camera fell over.
Why is there a spider on me?
Yeah, they're all over the place.
I think he's chilling.
Yeah, but so anyways, so I talked to Thaddeus. We got exactly what he wanted. Boom. I call him, yo, Thad, we got it under contract, baby. Woo! We're crooked.
You've mucked up.
Exactly. So once we are under contract, the next step is within the next 24 to 48 hours. Thaddeus, as the buyer, would have to deposit his earnest money to the title company, which is, we've talked about it for, a good faith deposit. It goes towards your closing costs / your down payment, so it's not any extra money. So, and then you do that, and we would also want to, the next day starts the beginning of your inspection period, which is your 10 days or less, whatever's negotiated, or longer, to literally look through the house, have specific people come check out, you know, anything that if you had any concerns about it. So generally, we would have an inspector come out within the 10 days, and he'd come through, do his inspection, check everything. Now, an inspector is not like a contractor, where he knows plumbing, electrical, structural.
They're not going to be able to tell you prices,
and they're not going to tell you how to fix it.
They're going to be able to tell you if it's functional or not.
They're an inspector. They will point out faults and tell you, be like, this is an area concern. You should have a plumber come out and check this. So they're going to inspect the roof to see if the roof looks like it might need an inspector to come take a look at it. But inspectors too, like, they're also, you know, they'll be like, hey, roof looks in good shape. There's a little bit like this, you know, so, you know, it looks good. It's in good shape. That's not means that there's nothing wrong with your roof kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Or be like, oh yeah, you know, like there's a little thing right here, but not worried about it kind of thing. They just have to point out everything.
And sometimes too, they can make a recommendation as far as, hey, I saw something on your roof. You might want to follow up with a licensed roofer to get a very specific expert opinion on that.
Exactly, too. They'll go through and be like, hey, leaky faucet, you're going to want to fix or replace that. They're just going to point out, this outlet doesn't work. We'll even check the appliances to make sure the oven works, which is 95% of the time. The light bulb underneath the microwave is always out. Always. Or a light bulb inside the oven.
Yep.
Little things like that. So the inspector comes, he gives us a spiel, and then I would go over with Thaddeus on what he wants to do as far as during the inspection period. You have the ability to ask the seller to fix anything that needs to be fixed, that you want to be fixed. So I would go back and forth with him, and we'd go back and forth and say, hey, what are some things that you don't want to fix, or something that you want to ask the seller to fix, whether they're big or small issues.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to ask for anything if it's in good shape too. Say Thaddeus wants a couple things done, and you can either ask for two things. You can ask them to fix it, or you can ask them to give you a credit, credit for money at closing. So it's not like they give you cash. They would put money. It's like, hey, I'll give you 15 instead of fixing all this. We'll give you $1,500, which would go towards your closing costs. So now inspection went well. Your sellers decided you're being a little greedy. You wanted a broken face outlet plate fixed in 2 areas, and they decided that they would do it for you. I've seen that break a deal before.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I think they didn't like the house that much. That's the vibe I got, but they just pointed out every little thing. So keep in mind, too, when you're buying a resale house, it is like a used car. It has been used before. There will be some little bumps and bruises, some imperfections. Anyways, boom. Dad gets what he wants. We're out of the inspection period. Now, typically, closing is about 30 days. So 10 days, now we're 20 days out. And the next step in the process is I make sure that we get out of the inspection period before we order an appraisal. Because say we order an appraisal with the lender, and in the inspection you find out there's something like the foundation's fucked, and you want to back out of the deal. That inspection period is pretty much your best chance of, it's like the only time, which I tell, it's not technically the only time, but it's 99% of the time it's the only time that you can cancel the contract and get that earnest money back, so you don't lose any money in the deal. Because if you just randomly back out of the deal and like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to buy it anymore. Well, you're going to lose, the $4,000, $2,000, $5,000 earnest deposit that you put in there.
Who does that earnest deposit go to at that point?
The title company is our third party. So if you cancel during the inspection period, you send that to title. Title will look at the contract and send the money back to the buyer. If it's they cancel a contract for no reason kind of thing, it goes to the seller. Cash money in their pocket. Or they're for wasting their time by not buying the house. So I wait for the inspection to be done. So because also too, if you cancel and they ordered it, and then you don't, like, if most lenders will just if you're going to use them again to buy a house, they won't charge you the $600 appraisal fee. Sometimes they do, but you cancel, you don't buy a house, you're going to have to owe the lender appraisal money, and then a couple months down the road, if you go do another house, you got to pay it again. So inspection's done. I call the lender, order the appraisal. Boom. I don't like to talk about bad things happening during the appraisal process. So in this scenario, boom, you bought the house at $440, it comes back at $441.
Nailed it.
Yep, we just got Thaddeus a house that he already has equity in. That's a fucking win. And then that's done. And then during these 30 days, after you get the appraisal back and it's all good to go, within this 30 days, as long as you didn't go buy a car as a buyer, Thaddeus didn't go buy a new car while he's trying to get a home loan.
I'm not going to finance it.
Get a credit card. do anything fucking stupid, charge his credit. He's like, oh, I got $2,000 more on my credit card, and charges it for something. Then 99% of the deal is done. Because if you do anything like that, that's going to, during that 30 days, don't do anything. Don't use a credit card. Don't go buy a car. Don't do anything credit related, because if it's negatively, pay your credit card. That's obviously good. That is when you could get down to the last week, 3 days before you're supposed to close. That pops up and you get your loan denied. And at that point in time, you lose the home and you lose that earnest money that you put down. Not to mention, you lose the $300 that you spent on the inspector as well.
3 to 5.
Yeah, and another 50 if you got the inspector. If you did a pool equipment inspection, there's another 100. If you had a VA or FHA loan and you had to get a termite inspection, which I recommend regardless because we live in
Especially for
Arizona. Yeah, so you're losing out on some money just from being stupid.
Yep. It's the stupid tax.
Exactly. And then I always like to have my clients close before the date of closing. Lately, it seems like a lot of people are closing same day or signing their papers same days.
Mm-hmm.
But we get through that appraisal 3 day, 5 to 1 day before close of escrow. Title will reach out and have you and your wife go sign your documents. Sign your life over to your home loan to $500,000. It's always weird when you think about it like
10%. What is it? 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which you want to have at least 10%, right? Maybe even 20 in some cases.
Exactly. And then also 3 days. So within 72 hours of the house closing, we would do a final walkthrough. So all the things that asked for to be fixed on the inspection, we will do a final walkthrough, make sure all of those were done properly, and also make sure that Joe's homie didn't crawl up in the attic and take all the copper wiring, or, they didn't punch a hole. Maybe like when the sellers were moving, they fucking fell and put a hole in the wall and they said, fuck it, and didn't fix it. Like, it is in the contract, it has to be in the same, better, or it has to be in as good as condition as it was when you first saw it. So we would do our final inspection to make sure all that's good, our final walkthrough. And then it's the day of the closing. And make sure you talk to your realtor about this too, because if you close on a Friday, that doesn't mean at 7:30 in the morning you can hire cleaners to come in to go inside the house to get it clean and get all your movers in. Because that is closing day. Tell my clients you can close anywhere between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Or is it 4? I think it's 4 p.m. But 9 and 5 p.m. Because the loan has to get funded. Title has to take all that stuff from the lender and all that stuff and then send it to the county to be recorded. Mm-hmm. And then we have to wait until we get a phone call or email from the title company saying, hey, we have fully recorded. You can release the keys to the buyer. And at that point in time, I'll drive up, meet Thaddeus at the home, take out the lockbox, and give him his keys, and call him, shake his hand, call him a homeowner. Now my work is done, and then now he has the shitty job of moving all that shit.
And I already did the hard work for you. While we were talking about this, I went and found Thaddeus his dream home. It's in the bottom of the notes.
Alright, let's see this.
It's got enough garage space where you can put the tools somewhere safe, where you can organize them and everything.
Why don't I see this?
It's in the very bottom.
I see it. I don't know what your problem is, Mason.
3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. They just did the floors. Ceiling fans are all turned off for the photos. Open concept.
5 tile floors.
It's pretty sweet if we had a screen grab on your iPhone.
Yeah, too bad we don't. We'll get there one day.
A basketball hoop in there
Exactly.
too.
He likes playing basketball.
He doesn't have to go to
Decent backyard.
Yeah, not the biggest thing in the world, but I don't know how big of a backyard you want. I know you guys talked about a dog, but we're not talking swimming pool at
We don't need a
375.
You know what scares me about this house though? With Thaddeus, is the color scheme screams flipper.
Yeah, it does. And
which
that's
would
kinda what
piss
it
him
was.
off, which would make him be very, very. He would be looking through this stuff a lot to make sure his shit was done right.
And if you look above the washer dryer, it almost looks like a door slab.
That's hilarious.
All right, before we get too off subject, since we might have bored a lot of people, but that essentially is. I don't know how much. I figured you would during the process you'd ask any questions if you wanted to dive any deeper into it. I think you underestimated on how much we could have dived into it.
Apparently, yes, we did. 43rd and Choya, huh? That's not bad. Anyways, we'll look at that later. May have found my house.
So essentially, that is the walkthrough of what the buying experience is. I did leave out one part, which when I first started, I used to forget sometimes, but I have it set up where it automatically sets it. My CRM sets a task for me to a week before closing to remind the buyers and or sellers that they need to turn the utilities on in their name.
Including internet, right?
Well, yeah, they can't get
internet's one thing. Power and water is a
water.
little different.
Yeah.
And you want it, and if you're buying a house in the city of Peoria, and you close on a Friday or a Thursday, they don't fucking work on Fridays. So if you call, if you're like, oh shit, it's Thursday, we close tomorrow, you'll call, they'll answer, be like, oh, well, we won't be able to get anybody out there to turn on your power or your water until that following Monday.
My wife and I have some friends, and they just moved from Anthem, and they didn't use a realtor that's as good as Mason, and so they didn't get their utilities set up correctly in time, and they went a weekend without water.
Is
this house we just worked on? Oh, okay.
That's why, if I can do it, Thursdays. Gives a buffer day if you can't close, something weird happens, or they forget.
Yep.
Unless you're in the city of Peoria. And honestly, I do that, like, if we put an offer in a house, as soon as we get a contract, I'm like, hey, you're going to forget this, I'll remind you. But City of Peoria Water does not work on Fridays. So you need to turn that shit on right away.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of stories. I feel like that happens to new buyers a lot more than it should.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
sadly.
But that's the basic process of it all.
Yeah. And then we'll follow up with some videos about the contract and some of those other things to kind of go over some more of those details, because we kind of slow rolled that whole thing.
Yeah,
so.
And we're not going to go through the contract.
I mean,
I'm not going through the contract. That's a lot of shit. We will go through over important stuff.
If you want
like,
Mason to go through a contract with you, you got to pay him.
you got to buy a house.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a $400,000
But, like, I
process.
think it'd be good to make a video on things like, what inside of the contract can make your offer stand out more than the others.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also, I think we have talked about the contingencies on when you can cancel a contract and when you can't.
But it'd be good to do in a standalone video for the people who might not be able to listen to all the episodes.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good video content anyways.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. Now I'm assuming that you don't want to do you want to dive into a project and how you manage that and what you do?
I feel like that's
How quickly do we think I can do it?
we could.
The question is that how quickly can you do it where like you explain enough to somebody that's
Well, we can do fundamentals fast.
I'm looking at 119, 30 seconds on my audio. We're probably a little ahead of the people who are actually listening on the podcast. All right. I'm going to try and do this real quick.
What does it say right there?
119.55.
It's a long podcast.
Yeah, it is. We might. Yeah. All right, let's get this done.
You're not going to do it? Okay, go ahead.
In regards to when we're looking at things on the construction side, most people understand how this works.
Let's just say for this.
Break down. I think a good thing, like you were saying, break down the process.
Well, it's right at the hop though. We need to establish this is something you're doing in addition to a home that exists that you already have. There's nothing like we're doing new build or anything.
we'll back up real quick. There's two camps usually that you're going to be in. There's either, hey, something broke, I just need it fixed, or there's, I'm looking to upgrade something. And sometimes it's a combination of the two. If you have an idea of what you're looking at in terms of pictures, this could be like Mason said, we're going off of Pinterest, some things like that. If you have an idea of saying, hey, here's my space, here's what I've been seeing, can we do this here? That's where I get to kind of start with, hey, here's the conversation in regards to what that price point looks like, here's what the timeline looks like, all those things.
It's fridge in the pantry.
Right, yes. We had a client who was asking if we could move a fridge into their pantry and if it would be worth it. So we go through all of that. But
did it work out? Okay, sorry. Go ahead. We'll talk about that later.
In regards to what we're looking at as tradespeople, the biggest thing that we have that I look at as a hurdle is going to be trust with the client. Because for us, and this is even on the real estate side, to say, hey, we're professionals, we know what we're doing. When you allow us to work, especially on your home, we want to be able to create an experience for you that is going to be that has as little pain as possible. So we're going to be doing things as far as to try and put up plastic to keep your house clean, all that good stuff. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. When you usually there's going to be, obviously, when everything becomes very custom, we want to be able to see the space in person, pull measurements off of our tape measure, kind of get ideas, be able to talk to the people in person. And going back to trust, this is the big point for me as far as when I'm interacting with a new customer, to say, hey, this is my first impression, my one shot to be able to nail this, to say, hey, here's who I am, here's who we are as a company, here's what we can do, right? So after that, it's going to be talking about what kind of a lead time we have. We installed some windows over the past weekend for window and door companies. Even for some standard windows and doors, you might have a couple week lead time. So it's trying to be very transparent with the customer in terms of just here's what we're looking at. For one of the things we talk about a lot, and it's in one of the core things that we have in our employee handbook as far as honesty. It's if you lose honesty with your client, the whole thing is shot to hell after that. So even when things are uncomfortable, we'll just be very upfront, straightforward with all of it right there. After that, it depends on the price of a project. Sometimes we're going to ask for a deposit. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes it depends on the relationship that we have with the customer we're dealing with. And then from there, it's up to execution on our part. We want to keep things clean. We want to keep things organized. We don't want to disrupt the flow of the person's life as much as possible in that space and go from there. For us, we want to be able to walk away from the project where everyone can see, hey, it's done, it looks good. We want to have provided the execution on the certainty that we were selling on the upfront process. And then with that as well, we're trying to even differentiate ourselves from a lot of other trades companies, and we'll have a little gift for the people on the back end. Don't think this is Christmas that we're coming and this isn't Christmas that we're coming in and dropping off toys for everyone, but it's just a little memento from the project, something for the people to remember us by. But for me, it's like when we were coming in as far as to say, hey, what's the deep dive on this? My biggest thing for people in the trades is to say, hey, if you're starting a company, when the thing that we need to convey to the customer, and for the customer to look at us and say, do we get your trust in the meeting? Do we get your confidence in the project that we're going to be doing for you? Because if we don't, this is your home. And that's very important, like just for everyone. If that's your home, you're going to be there every single day. You'll be able to see it every single day. You might have to deal with the consequences for a while after that. So we take that very seriously. We communicate that clearly. And then at the end of the day, it's just executing on what we say we can do in a professional way, in a cleanly way, in an orderly way, to make sure that everyone feels well taken care of by our company.
That's a wrap.
Gentlemen,
I was half listening.
I'm sure.
But yeah, you're good pitch. Did you go over the the generic process of like what to expect when you call a contractor? Or would that open up too many like
That's
questions?
a can of worms. Yeah.
Yes and no. As far as it depends.
Like if I call, yeah, like what is it like? Is it like a phone consultation, in-person overview, like a price and scope of work that's going to be done, and then pick a date, kind of thing like that?
So this is also going to depend too on the price point that you're looking at in regards to. If you need something that's really standard, as far as, hey, like if you're calling an electrician, I've got an outlet that's faulty, I need it replaced. They might ask you the color of the outlet. They will show up with the outlet, the cover plate, and that's it, right? When you get to stuff that's more specialty, which we're not there, and we want to kind of put this out there as far as with the podcast and some of the videos we're doing, that you guys get to see the journey that we're going through. But we're looking to move towards the luxury and high-end side of things, and for that, the companies that are doing construction in that area, they're going to have screening at time to see, are you a person we want to work with? Because there are pain-in-the-ass contractors and there's pain-in-the-ass customers. And sometimes you're a good contractor that runs into a pain-in-the-ass customer that it turns into more of a headache than it was actually worth for the money. So, yes, usually it's going to start with a phone call. You're going to try and get a gauge on the client. I'll say personally that there are clients that when I'm talking to them, as far as there'll be times that I think, hey, this is not a client that I believe is going to be the right fit for us in the company going forward. So there is a vetting process on both sides of it in terms of all of that. We're going to discuss what are the expectations, what are the timelines, and if we can't deliver that, then we're just, like I said, very honest in regards to, I'm sorry, then you're probably going to have to go with someone else, and I'm very, like, that's it. I don't have an emotional side about it, and that's the end of it. But when you're on the high end, there are going to be things in regards to, sometimes that's trips to showrooms, that's going to be bringing in samples, things of that nature. So all kinds of stuff like that. As far as it really, you start to pay for the customer service in a very large way, as far as if you're having people take you around town to different showrooms, showing you different product finishes, stuff like that.
And that's the biggest complaint when I talk to clients, family members, and even my personal experience, obviously before you guys, is just the communication is fucking awful in that industry.
Yep.
It's like, oh, like I want this, and this done. All right, got it. It's this much. I'll come here on this day. But like, there's nothing else. It's like they just
I got it.
Things, yeah,
I
like,
got
hey,
it.
this
and
is
then
what
it's
I
like,
have.
hey, when are you coming? Like we got a job recently, and I think we talked about it on here that we bid it, didn't get it, and then we ended up having a portion of the project because there was such a lack of communication from the one company. So this is where we talk about business is business, and in the trades we've got a lot of rough and tumble people, and it's like, hey, I'm all for that. Be an intense person, be a roughneck, but at the same time, you still have to be a business person at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's wrap it up. Joe, where can they find you?
Search it _ there on Instagram. I post lots of malarkey. Not a lot of work stuff, but when it comes up, I will.
Don't you have 2 Instagram accounts?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
To our... Never mind, I'm not going to say anything. Mason, where can they find you?
Oh, at the IG, Instagram, at Mason Oxendale. Yep. We spoke about doing the video, the deep dive into all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm revamping the real spit on real estate. So I'll have a lot of my videos specifically about real estate kind of posted over there.
Cool. You can find what we're doing construction at Cyto _building on Instagram. If you want to talk to us in person, shoot me a call, shoot me a text, 602-471-8182. Until next time.
I don't have it memorized.
Me either.
It's in the notes, boys.
My computer died.
Oh, dear God. I hope your hammer stays accurate.
Wi-Fi fast.
And your work blessed.
And your work blessed.
See everybody.
Blah, blah.
You got that one memorized.
Just throwing us under the bus that first time. And I'm like,
Oh, gentlemen.
I think